right, friends, I'm not sure where we left off, but I know that you saw me deconstruct this book, remove the spine, take the signature out, all of that good stuff. So now I'm going to show you how to put your altered book back together. Before we get into that part, I'm going to break down some of what I did. Obviously, you know, we pulled apart the cover and the spine, and then what I did was, and I think this is in the video too, I took it apart. Yes, we had to sew some fabric to some of the pages to create a signature, but keep the pages in chronological order. So that's why we had to do that, and I know that that's earlier in the video. In the middle section, I did not have to pull those pages apart because it's the middle section. So I was able to make a middle signature and keep them in chronological order. So middle section didn't need to be changed in any way. But then the third, just like the first one, I had to use some fabric to create the new signature and keep the pages in chronological order. So that's what we did there. The flip through of this will be coming later, so that's why I'm not showing you each of the pages. Now, as you can see, I have gone through and I have embellished some of the pages. I haven't added tags or tucks or anything like that, but I have added some embellishments. Some people do that after their book is together, but because I wanted to sew a lot of my laces in, I did that before I put my book together. And I decided I'd go ahead and put the book together before I make the tags, because frequently I do the entire book and then do the cover, and then my tags are like just flying all over the place, and I hate to take them all out because then I forget what order I had them in. So at any rate, we are ready to put this book back together. So I have my bucket here, and in my bucket is my handy dandy selection of threads. I got this set on Amazon. It came with different colors, and it came with this awl, which I used to poke the holes, and it did not come with this needle, but I happen to have had a big needle. This needle's probably bigger than it needs to be. I might go ahead and look for a smaller one, but it has been working for me with no problem at all. My hands are not tiny, so it's actually really easy for me to work with this and deal with this. All right, so we are going to start by choosing the color of our thread, and I think I'm going to go with this blue because there's a lot of blue in the story, and so I just think that'll be nice. As many of you know, but if you don't know, I'm glad you're tuning in. What we do when we have our thread, in order to sew a signature in, if I can find the end of my thread here, you do 3 lengths of your pages. There it is. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and that does leave enough to tie a little dangle at the bottom. And I'm trying to find my scissors. Well, here they are in the drawer where they're supposed to be. That's magical. So I have 3 signatures, so let's just go ahead and cut all these now. All right, so we're going to just take and thread our needle. Super easy, right? I've decided that this book is going to have a hidden spine. So I have grabbed a piece of cardboard, and I wanted to let you know that if you enjoy recycling, you can use cardboard from a box, from your pantry, from shipping, pretty much anywhere you can grab a piece of cardboard from. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm marking where I'm going to cut this. Since some of this is going to be exposed inside of the book, I'm going to go ahead and cover that with paper or fabric. I have decided to use this fabric. All right, I got the spine adhered to, the fabric adhered to the cardboard. And so now I am just going to mark where I want to put my holes with my awl. I'm just marking where the bottom of the book is and where the top of the book is so that I have a reference point when I'm deciding on where I want to put the holes in for the signatures. So since this is the bottom, I'm going to do a little bit of a line here. I don't want it to be too visible, but just enough. Okay. So you figure, let's see how tall this thing is. Let me move there we go. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I backed my camera up a little bit just so that you could see what I'm doing. So this is almost 8 inches. So we're going to be just above the 4 inch for the center. So I'll go, actually, hold on. This is not quite. So it's going to be but just above the 3 inch. Let's go to 3.5. 3.5 is close enough to the center point. So I'm just going to put a line there. I'm hoping I can see it. It's kind of dark fabric, but I hope I can see it. All right, so there's my center line. And then I don't want to be too close to the top or too close to the bottom. So let's go up 1 inch. Hopefully that's enough. Let's go up 1.25 inches. I'm going to do the same over here. I enjoy making a hidden spine, but for me it's a little fumbly when I start to do it. So marking my holes ahead of time seems to work pretty well for me. So from the edge of the cardboard, which I can feel that with my finger, I want to come in at least, let's see how wide this thing is. It's almost 3 inches wide, but not quite. So let me see. It's here to here. Okay, so this is 2 inches wide. All right, so this is going to be my middle. I'm going to have to see if I have a white. Oh, you know what would work on here, you guys, is a white ink. Oops. Sorry, I just hit that. Is white. Let me see if this will work on here. So if 5 is the center, then, and I'm going to go in 1/4 inch over here. I'm going to go in 1/4 plus a centimeter. So I'm going to do that one here. I'm hoping I'll be able to see these. Friends, I got those marked, and it's basically as a guide, just so that I don't put them in crooked like this. It doesn't, because it's a hidden spine, it doesn't matter really where I punch the hole in on this part, but I don't want it to sit like this, like that would be a problem. So they need to go in straight. I hope that makes sense, and not like that, right? So that's the whole reason that I took the time to do that. Now we've got our awl and we have our thread. So this one I'm just going to be doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, very simple. I'm just going to set this in the center, and I'm kind of eyeballing that, which I'm pretty good at doing. And then I'm picking up my hidden spine part here, and I'm putting it where I put that first mark, and I'm just pushing this through. All right, so they're both through. This can move around, which is fine. But while that hole is there and everything is steady, I'm going to go ahead and put my needle in. Now, sometimes I would take and use my clothespins to hold everything in place, but I've done this enough times, I don't really need to do that. But, oh, hold on, I put this Darn it, did this wrong. So friends, what I did was I had marked this, but I should have put it next to the book to know that if I do it that low, then my book is going to be sitting down here and it's not going to fit on there. So just sharing a mistake, which at least nothing was sewn in and before I noticed. So we're going to put this centered this way. We're going to put this over here. There's the original hole that I put, which is fine. I don't need to get a new piece of cardboard or anything like that. But I do want my book to be centered properly this way, right? So I don't even know why I didn't think about that. So we're just going to put a new hole here. And then I'm going to take that and put this here, and then it'll kind of hold that in place. And now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to get ready to do my next one. All right, so I've got the hole in there. I'm holding it with my hands. While I'm holding everything together and keeping it from moving, I'm going to go ahead and pull my needle. Let me see if I can do it like this so you guys can see. Just pulling my needle, just like that. Leaving some of this thread up here, right? Want to leave that there. And now I'm going to put this in the back and up through this hole here. And there went the needle. Do you guys see it? Not difficult at all. Now we're going to go ahead. We can lay that down. I'm going to put my hole here. And then I'm going to find the line on here, which is right here. And I'm going to push it through. Remember, this is the hidden spine thing that we're doing. Now I'm going to push this through. See how it goes through both? All right, we've got everything. Looks great. I'm going to tighten that just a little, and then I'm coming back up through this part. There we go. This is not a fat signature. It's not a lot of pages, so it's really, really easy to do. If you haven't done a junk journal and you want to do one, just make a small one your first time. Make a small one, sew it together, do a one signature with 5 pages, 6 pages, and that way it's not intimidating, and you'll see once you do it, then you're like, oh, okay, that's not bad at all, right? So we just kind of pull these taut, and then we check it. We check it right here. So these feel pretty good. This one's leaning a little though. There's a little, just a tiny bit of looseness there. So I'm just gonna tighten that up again, checking it. Yep, feels perfect. So now we're just gonna tie a double knot. We're gonna go one way, and then I learned that instinctively I wanna go like this way, so I know I'm gonna do it the opposite. So I'm gonna do this, and then cross this one over here. And there's a name for that knot, but it keeps everything knotted real good and keeps it from coming undone. Then I also learned to just take something and squish down your wax thread. I use wax thread, I recommend it. And you just squish that wax together, and that also will keep this from coming undone. Look how much extra there is, plenty of room for me to tie a dangle onto that. So that's our first signature. It's in. Look at that. How quick and easy was that? So now we're going to take the second and third one and get those done. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to make sure it's, I don't want it to be down here. I don't want it to be up here. We're going to make sure it's the same height as the other one. I guess that's how to describe that. And actually, I have a shorter paper in here, so I want to move that up a little bit. And I have 2 of them that are like that, so I'm going to move that up a little bit. It's a good time to make sure your pages are where you want them. I think the rest of mine are perfectly fine. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the center. And then this is the center line here, making sure this and this are even with each other. And then that's the spot that I'm gonna pop my awl through. Okay, I did that. That's gonna sit there while I find my other piece of blue wax thread and pull that through. Now, the first one's easy. The second one gets to be a little more awkward. Papers can definitely shift much easier. This is a real shortcut that I'm showing you with my popping the awl out and putting this in. If you're a beginner, you might not want to do it like that, but you can. I did that almost from the beginning of mine. I mean, so it's just whatever is your comfort level. So that was our first one. So let's do our second hole. Whoops. I'm gonna do it right up here. I'm gonna pop it through the pages, and then I'm gonna put it on the line there that I had marked. I'm glad I marked it. It does keep me, it keeps it straight. And we're gonna pop this through here. There we go. And then we're gonna do our third one right here. And make sure I'm on the line. Yep, there's my line. There it is right there. Okay. And then we go through the back again. And if you can't find your pages, let me show you what I do. I'll pop it through here, and there's my needle. And then I just go one page at a time. And then I can see the needle in each page. Okay? So easy. And then your thread, one piece needs to be on one side of that middle section, and one piece needs to be on the other side. Friends, this is our hidden spine, and here it is covered so that when you open the book you're going to see this material. You're not going to see the cardboard, and then this is going to get attached to the actual book cover. So our 3 signatures went in. Everything is nice and tidy. There it is on that side. Here it is here. So everything looks really good. We are off to a wonderful start. So now we're going to go ahead and make the book cover. All right, I have a piece of cardboard that is the same width as this piece of cardboard. And I'm going to tell you something about a cereal box. Because you have the front and the back, then you have those 2 sides. Well, that's what these are. And the 2 sides are the same size. So I didn't even have to measure. The only thing I have to measure is how much to take off of the end. And we can see I need to cut it right here. All right, well, what do we do now? Well, we open up our book. We have these 2 pieces laying here. We take the soon-to-be spine, we set it in, we make sure everything measures out. So what I'm noticing, and let's use my mat here, what I'm noticing is that this is too long. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it right there, and so that I get a nice straight cut, and pop it in this. That looks very good. Yep, pretty close to perfect. All right, now it is time to attach the front and back cover to the new spine that we just created. Now, I don't always use masking tape, but in this case I am. Masking tape is strong and it's very thin, so it's hardly noticeable. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. Now, sometimes I just use fabric, but I feel like this will just hold everything in place for me so that when I do go in with my fabric, there's not going to be any shifting. Now that I have that placed the way that I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and trim the ends. Now we're going to go ahead and get the piece of fabric that we need to cover the spine area. Now I like to tear my fabric because I like the way that the frayed edges look. So you will see me doing a lot of tearing of fabric. And then you see me pulling the loose strings off so they're not hanging around. Now I am prepping the outside. I do frequently, not always, but frequently use decoupage to adhere my fabric. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm putting the decoupage on and then I'm pressing my fabric down, and I do a few inches at a time. I use very thin decoupage. I do not over saturate it at all. I work very thinly, and I recommend that you do the same. Because I use it as thin as I do, that's the reason why I only do a few inches at a time. If I tried to do the whole space really thin, by the time I got down to the bottom, like it would already be dry and my fabric wouldn't adhere to it. So I do a little bit at a time. I press the fabric on there, go to the next section. That works for me. All right, friends, as you can see, we have the fabric all the way around the spine, or all, creating the spine, I guess. And now we're going to go ahead and take our book and we are going to glue this right in there. Now, before I do, let me set this in here and see how that's going to look. Before I do, I think I want to go ahead and trim some of this fabric here. The top looks fine. Yep, I think I just need to trim the bottom there. All right, friends, she is trimmed up here and ready to go. Let's try that on for size one more time. Yeah, it looks basically perfect now. So now we're going to go ahead, take this part, put the fabric glue on it, and then pop it in here. Getting really low on that glue, so it was really coming out of the bottle slowly, which is why I turned off the camera, but I got the glue on here. Now I am going to put this in here, and I'm going to go ahead and shut the cover and, on the front and the back, just to make sure I've got it in there in the right spot. And I find that if I do that, then I can just check the front, can check, the top, the bottom. My battery ran out just as I was finishing that sentence, so sorry about that. But we got it in. It looks great. This is the cover. And keep your eyes out for the flip through. This is my creation for hashtag creating and recrafting with the theme of springtime. So this is what I made. I'm really excited for you to see the journal in its entirety, and so that will be coming out on Monday. Thanks for watching. See you soon.